Joining me today is Jim Rubens, who's running for the U.S. Senate in New Hampshire. One of the issues I want to talk to you about is the creation of jobs in the U.S.
Yep.
And then maybe save a little bit for sort of where you stand on some of the social issues that the Senate may see coming forward. But jobs, I mean, that was one of the big issue that's driving your campaign.
And as I mentioned in the opening segment, working Americans have been under serious wage pressure for quite a while now.
And I said jobs, but really, it's not necessarily new jobs, it's better jobs.
It's jobs, it's living wages for jobs, it's job security, it's retirement security. And Republicans have fallen down on the job in addressing this issue. And number one, I differ with Senator Ayotte in her vote. She promised not to vote for amnesty, and she voted for the Gang of Eight bill. This was the Gang of Eight Amnesty Open Borders bill. Now this ties into jobs, and I'm going to talk about this. When you have open borders, and you have this open borders immigration policy, we have wound up flooding America, not only with illegal workers, but we have flooded America with H-1B workers, and the result of this open borders flood America with replacing good-paying American jobs with foreigners. The result has been job insecurity. It's had been declining wages, and as I mentioned, people have seen the cost of living up, wages flat and stagnant. Republicans need to address this. So what would I do? I'd put up a wall. I would stop the flow of illegal immigrants from coming into the country, not only to keep us secure so that terrorists do not get in, as has happened clearly in Europe, and it probably is happening in the United States, so that people who are illegals are not coming in driving down wages by operating the black market. I would require employers to use E-Verify so that the jobs that we do have in America go to Americans. I would change these trade policies. I would not vote, as Senator Ayotte has voted for, the TPA, the TPP, which again, the object, intended or unintended, the consequences of it is to drive American wages down to Vietnamese levels. That is not working for Americans. This concept in economics of creative destruction, the people that are being destroyed are American wage earners. So we need to balance the benefits of free trade, low-cost merchandise from China, with the impact on American families. So I would change policy in Washington away from crony capitalism, away from driving down wages, and and support policies that support free market increase in job security, pension security, and rising pay.
So a couple of things that come to me. First, the wall issue. You have a number of illegal aliens in the United States, undocumented workers.
Right.
I don't know what the estimates are in the total numbers.
You hear 11 million.
What's the path for them? Is it exit only?
I use the Arizona model. First of all, for felons who are illegal aliens convicted, put on an airplane, send them back to where they came from. We do not want illegal alien criminals in this country. Okay, that's a specific category of people who are threatening the well-being of Americans. They go home. They're out of here. Number two, the wall. Here's what Arizona did. Arizona is a good template. Arizona required the enforcement of E-Verify. This is the existing law, so that the people who get jobs in Arizona now are people who are American citizens. What happened in Arizona? Construction wages went up 15%. Agricultural wages went up 10%, and the number of illegal aliens in Arizona dropped by 40%. There was no rounding up. It was simply by attrition. When you say that if you're illegal, if you're not a citizen of the United States and you can't get a job here, people went home and returned to their families from whence they came. So it did not require rounding up. It did cause wages to go up, and it caused reductions I mean, we heard 500,000 illegal aliens were just kicked off Obamacare. So we've got to use the social safety net we have for the benefit of Americans.
So
it's called enforcing the law. It's called using the benefits of America for Americans. This is what I say, make Washington work for Americans, not to drive down wages.
What about the trade side? Republicans historically have been for free trade.
Yes, they have.
Why is the PPT not a good trade deal? Why are...
Again, there are benefits from free trade. Benefits are, again, economists call it creative destruction. You take capital that is malinvested and you destroy its malinvestment, and then it becomes recycled into better uses in countries that do better at exporting and producing certain products and services. The entire world benefits from this move toward greater efficiency. The problem is there's a trade-off, and the trade-off is that there are people who are being creatively destroyed, and the people creatively destroyed have been American wage earners, and this has got to be tempered. Free trade in the world is a good thing, but you've got to temper against the pressure on American wage earners. When you have people in America, many who can never retire, whose kids are in the basement and on couches with $28,000 in college debt, getting jobs as baristas in Starbucks, this is not working for America. And Republicans, I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative Republican, we have got to start talking about the needs of American wage earners. And the crony capitalists in Washington, yeah, I guess they see merit in driving down American wages down to Chinese and Vietnamese level, but it's not working for Americans, okay? I differ with Senator Ayala on these issues.
Well, we're going to stop right there because we are out of time.
Okay.
But thank you so much for being here. And thank you for joining us for this edition of Capital Connections, your weekly access to politics and policy along the I-89 and I-91 corridors and how it impacts our life in our region. If you've got a comment or an idea for a future show, please send me an email. And remember, join us again at this same time next week for another edition of Capital Connections.